Hello everyone, welcome to our group. Today we will be presenting about Unusual Billionaires written by Saurabh Mukherjea sir. Our group is group number 12 and we consist of Tanisha, Chaitya, Diya, Dipti, Prayag, Kashish, Jash and myself, Hitanksh Burad. Today we will be talking about Unusual Billionaires. The author is Saurabh Mukherjee sir and he is an extremely acclaimed equity strategist and is best known for his best-selling book Unusual Billionaires, and he is also the founder of the Marcellus Investment Managers. He is renowned into his insights of quality investing. He has also empowered countless investors to find companies which are poised for exponential growth and generate superior returns compared to others. In his book, he talked about the coffee can portfolio in the first chapter, which talks about picking companies which grow their revenue by 10% over a decade and have a consistent ROCE of 15% over that same period of time. By picking such companies which grow at such lengths and consistencies for a decade, are they give exponential returns to their investors. The seven companies we will be talking about today are Asian Paints, Berger Paints, Marico, Page Industries, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, and Astral Pipes. Let's dive into the triggers of the business first. How they started. Asian Paints started after there was a temporary ban on the paint imports after World War II. So Champaklal Choksi sir and his group of friends started Asian Paints and started to sell paints in India. Then there is Marico. Marico was initially part of Bombay Oil Industries Limited, but later to get complete autonomy over the business and the capital it generated, they demerged from that business and created Marico as a own separate entity. Then there is Berger Paints. Berger Paints entered India via the acquisition of British Paints India and started selling paints in India through that. Then there is Astral Poly. Astral Poly was started as a joint venture between Sandeep Engineer Sir's company, Astral, and Thompson Pipes of USA. They wanted to introduce CPVC pipes to India, which was resistant to corrosions, unlike iron and copper pipes, which was used at that time. Then there is Axis Bank and HDFC Bank. They entered India's banking space when RBI gave them banking licenses after the 1994 reforms, where banking space was open to private players. Then there is lastly Page Industries. Page Industries was actually present in India even before 1994, but after there was a change in the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act or FERA by the government, it had to dilute 40% of its equity to India, which it considered unreasonable. So it exited India. But after the 1991 LPG reforms, it entered India again under Page Industries and started selling innerwear. Thank you. Moving on to the innovation part dictated by Tanisha.
Hello, my name is Tanisha Acharya and I'll be presenting the innovation slide. Starting with the Asian Paints. Asian Paints noticed how many consumers had small scale needs, yet they were forced to buy large cans. So they innovated small packaging, which was easier for short term demands. Next, we have Marico. Marico noticed how teens would rust and leak, which was very inconvenient. So they switched their packaging to plastic bottles, which was easier for both consumer and retailer to store and transport. Next up, we have Page Industries. Page Industries noticed a gap in consumers' demand for comfort and quality in apparel. So they did research and development to know what consumer actually likes, and they innovated their product accordingly. Next, we have Bojo Paints. Bojo Paints noticed how customer had to wait long enough just to get one specific shade delivered. So they installed tinting machine at dealers outlet to make this process easier. Next, we have banking and financial services. Here, Axis Bank made onboarding more seamless by introducing Aadhaar based eKYC that reduced all the paperwork and made process simpler for the consumers. Next, we have HDFC. They started electronic payments transfer, which was so convenient, like name them consumers, retailers, wholesaler, everyone. And with the dematerialization, it made shareholders being attracted to this new innovation. Next up, we have industrial materials. For here, SL pipes replaced heavy metal pipes and introduced new plastic pipes which were non-corroded, easier to use, and was a value-added product for modern plumbing services. Next slide. Next, we have different innovations made by the companies. So, across various companies, they have used technology to streamline the distribution channel. Like Asian Paint used mainframe computers, whereas Marico used order management software to know what their inventory looks like and reduce all the stock gaps. Next up, we have a massive innovation made by Asian Paints, which was color consulting and painting services. As their consumer could actually pick their shade and access a painter with few extra cost. Last, we have HDFC. They started innovative clearing check system, which made interbank transactions so easier and removed all the manual delays. And that's it from my side. Now I would like to pass on to Chaitya.
Business strategy is all about making right choices today to win in the future. This presentation explores how companies build, execute and sustain strategies that drive long-term success. My name is Chaitya Gada and I will be talking about business strategies. Let's start with Asian Paints. Mr. Champaklal Choksi sir was a superb gap analyst. He identified consumption pattern better than the competitors. For example, in festivals such as Pola and Pongal that was celebrated in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, he noticed that the horn of the bulls was painted and that required paint in smaller quantities. So he started selling paint packages in the quantity of 50 to 100 ml. When he was rejected by the cities such as Mumbai and Pune, he didn't lose hope but instead started selling paints in the rural areas and opened his first dealership in Sangli, located in South Maharashtra. IT was the backbone of the Asian Paint business. Earlier, they used to do in-house IT infrastructure, but they later on outsourced their infrastructure to I2 Technology, which was a USA-based company and which helped them increase ROC and reduce working capital days. Next is Berger Paints. They partnered with Lintas Media Group and also collaborated with Katrina Kaif to increase their brand image and also increase their market share. They also collaborated with Oracle to establish an advanced ERP system. Under CEO Kuren area, they shift their focus to home decor business to get that extra edge they were missing. Next is Marico. Harsh Maliwala noticed that B2B was a low margin business, so he decided to switch whole business model to B2C to earn higher margins. When Marico was part of his parent, BOIL Limited, he noticed that he had limited autonomy despite of strong growth. So he decided to demerge and found a complete new subsidiary which is called Marico. Marico grew exceptionally well from the year 2007 to 2013 while doing exceptional acquisitions in India as well as abroad and also divested low margin businesses such as Sweecar and SIL. Next is Page Industries. With the help of MIS system, they used to do year ahead demand forecasting which help in supply chain efficiencies and also managing their inventory levels. With the help of the software, they also started online stock ordering for dealers and EBO dealers also, and that helped them in measuring inventory levels and reduce their working capital days. Next slide please. Then comes Axis Bank. They hired Dr. Jayendra Nayak sir, a man of high integrity and probity, to increase the brand image of the Axis Bank and also restore trust with strong leadership. Earlier, they used to follow scattergun approach, that is they targeted customer randomly. Later on they switched to customer segmentation based on income levels. Low income levels customer was serviced via call centers and high income level customers were serviced via giving a dedicated RM. Next is HDFC Bank. The conservative approach of the HDFC Bank helped them maintaining low NPA as compared to their rivals. As rural market was a virgin market, HDFC Bank decided to penetrate this market with the help of acquiring Centurion Bank of Punjab and grow in this area. Lastly, Astral. They converted their whole strategy from moving from industrial pipes to plumbing pipes as they saw that industrial pipes was heavily ruled by Tata Steel and Jindal Steel and Astral didn't have pricing power in this particular segment. So they switched to plumbing business and targeted plumbers. They started getting foundational orders from infrastructure companies and hotels as they were the largest consumer of plumbing pipes. Thank you.
Hi, I am Diyasha. I will be presenting on strategic capital allocation, a corporate playbook, which explains how strong companies use capital to achieve sustainable growth while managing risk. The first pillar is fueling the core engine through reinvestment. Leading companies reinvest heavily in their core business. Asian Paints. Asian Paints reinvests most of its internal cash to support expansion, technology, and long-term leadership. Similarly, Astral reinvests around 83% of its capital, funding growth e- mainly through equity, which helps maintain a strong balance sheet. Axis Bank focused capital use by reinvesting profits into core banking activities rather than unrelated diversification. The second pillar is disciplined deployment, which emphasizes return and risk control. Page Industries follow strict capital discipline by approving only projects which are at least 20% ROCE and operating an asset-light model. Berger Paints stays focused on its paints business while delivering steady dividends of 35 to 40%. Marico actively manages its portfolio in investing in strong brands and exiting low-margin businesses. Successful capital allocation is based on focus, discipline, and long-term value creation, not aggressive expansion. Next slide, please. This slide highlights corporate missteps, cautionary tales from industry leaders showing how strategic and managerial mistakes can impact long term performance, even in established companies. I will begin with the consumer and FMCG sector. At Ancient Paints, promoter infighting and different growth views stalled expansion, highlighting how weak governance can slow decision making. Berger Paints pursued aggressive growth in decorative paints which strained the balance sheet, while frequent ownership changes and instability showing the risk of expansion without financial discipline. At Marico, cultural issues and capital allocation errors led to operational challenges and talent loss. Moving to the banking and industry sector, Axis Bank. Axis Bank early focus on mid-corporate lending resulted in high non-performing assets due to weakness in lending and risk assessment. Finally, Astral faced setbacks from unsuccessful global expansion and unmanaged foreign exchange risk, leading to financial volatility. Overall, these cases demonstrate that long-term success depends not only on growth but also on strong governance, culture, risk management, and disciplined capital allocation. Thank you.
Hello, myself Prag Patel. First, let's look at how they build their brand. Asian Paints didn't just sell paint; they sold emotion. They used a mascot named Gattu to connect with smaller villages, and they focused on feeling of home rather than just walls. Marico did something similar with Safola. They positioned it as a heart-healthy oil. Even when the price went up, people kept buying it because you don't compromise on your health. Next, Page Industries, Jockey, is very fascinating. They have strict discipline. They almost never give discounts because they spend heavily on advertising. People are happy to pay full price for the premium feeling. Finally, Axis Bank. They rebranded from the old UTI name to Axis to look global and professional, using Bollywood stars to connect with youth. Next slide, please. Next, let's move to their architecture of people and culture. Page Industries treat its worker like family. They employ 88% women and have a strict rule. Supervisors are not allowed to shout at workers. This motherly approach meant they faced almost no labor strikes. Marico faced a tough environment in Kerala, but they solved it by organizing sports and cultural activities for workers after shift. This kept the team happy and production running. And HDFC Bank proved that you don't need the highest salary to keep people. They kept attrition very low simply by having stable, clear processes that give employees peace of mind. Next slide. Finally, let's look at governance and leadership. Axis Bank under Mr. Nayak changed the game. It was a meritocracy. Promotions were based on talent, not on age. They also gave employee stocks, ownership, ESOPs, so everyone felt like owner. Uh, Berger Paint showed great discipline. The owners, the Dingra family, stepped back and let professional manager run the show without any interference. And Asian Paints focused on building an independent board of director. This attracted high quality talent and turned the company into a leadership factory. Thank you. Now I would like to hand it over to Kashish.
Myself, Kashish Kawa. Today I'll be discussing the challenges faced by the following companies. The first one is Asian Paints, low consumer involvement. That is, consumers are not emotionally involved and usually rely on painters' recommendations. Unorganized sector competition. That is, the market had many small, local, and unorganized manufacturers. These players competed aggressively among them about the prices and offered cheaper alternatives. So they started investing heavily in technology and forecasting, which helped them reduce the need of working capital and eventually minimized the stockouts. The second company is Marico. Intense price competitions. FMCG markets are highly competitive with frequent price wars, so they shifted to value added products, that is, expanded beyond plain coconut oil into hair oils, food, and premium variants. Next slide. The third company is Page Industries. The Indian innerwear market was largely unbranded and price driven. This company is premium yet an accessible brand. That is, it was priced higher than unbranded players but still affordable for the middle class, creating a value premium perception. And as a solution, this company started investing in in-house manufacturing and quality control, which ensured consistent fit, fabric, and durability of the products. The fourth company is Estel Poly. Estel introduced CPVC technology, which was new and unfamiliar in India, and because of which plumbers, contractors, and customers were resistant to change, fearing failure and higher cost. So, as a solution, they demonstrated the advantages like durability, safety, and performance, reducing the fear of adoption. Next slide. The five strategic assets. The first one is distribution network. A wide distribution network ensures the company's products are available everywhere. That is, wherever the customer is, urban, semi-urban, and rural markets. Long-term relationships with dealers are built through incentives, credit support, and reliable services. An efficient supply chain enables accurate demand forecasting and minimal stockouts. Brand trust, that is, customers prefer the brand not only because it performs well, but because it feels safe and familiar. Capital allocation discipline, that is, disciplined capital allocation means investing only in those projects that generate higher returns on capital. Thank you.
So, Saurabh Mukherjee sir explains that the companies which create extraordinary wealth don't rely only on one single factor. Instead, they build a combination of competitive advantages that reinforce each other over long periods. I am Dipti and I'll briefly explain how these advantages work. The starting point is sustainable growth. Growth by itself is not enough, it has to be profitable. For banks, consistent loan growth above 15% across cycle signals strong underwriting and risk discipline. At the same time, these businesses ensure that the return on capital remain higher than the cost of capital, which means growth is actually creating value. This is why banks like HDFC and Axis are able to compound steadily rather than chase risky expansion. Another important advantage is operational efficiency. Companies invest for years in better processes, tighter controls, and efficient supply chains. Over time, this leads to lower working capital needs, faster response to demand, and better margins. Asian Paints, Page Industries, and Marico are the good example where efficiency itself became an advantage. Distribution plays a critical role in sustaining leadership. Building a large dealer and distributor network take decades, not just capital. Once these networks are in place, competitors find it very hard to break in, even with the similar products. This is clearly visible in the business like paints, consumer goods, and pipes, where incumbents dominate the shelf space and mindshare. Closely linked to distribution is supply chain efficiency. Strong supply chain allows companies to scale without losing control over cost or service levels. Asian Paints is often cited by Saurabh Mukherjea sir as an example where supply chain investment directly support the competitive strength and dealer loyalty. Leadership stability is another understated advantage. When leadership and boards remain consistent, companies can think long term rather than optimize for short term result. This stability improves the execution quality and ensures capital is allocated sensibly as seen across several companies studied. Next slide. Another key advantage is an undiluted focus on the core business. These companies avoid unnecessary diversification and concentrate capital and managerial bandwidth on what they do best. Example include Page Industries, Asian Paints, Burgeon Paints, and Marico, where focus improves execution quality and sustains high return ratios. Cost and credit advantage further strengthen the competitiveness. Banks like HDFC and Axis benefit from access to low cost deposit, and manufacturing business companies such as Berger Paints and Asian Paints use cash discounts and favorable credit terms to strengthen the dealer relationships. These advantages allow company to compete without sacrificing long-term profitability. Finally, strong governance ties everything together. Independent boards and promoter restraint ensure that the free cash flows are reinvested wisely. Over time, this builds brand trust and credibility, reinforcing customer loyalty and pricing power. To sum up, Saurabh Mukherjee sir shows that the wealth is created not through bold bets but through consistent execution, disciplined capital allocation, and competitive advantages that compound quietly over time. With that context, I will now hand it over to Josh, who will take you through the key takeaways. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasha. Now that we have gone through all the individual companies, I wanted to conclude by stepping back and looking at the common patterns behind their long term success. The first major insight from the book is the distribution, not innovation, is the real mood in the Indian business. What stands out is that these companies treat distribution not as a back-end function but as a core strategic weapon. Like faster movements of goods improves its responsiveness and significantly reduces the excess need for the working capital. Also, by developing a direct access to the market, reduces their dependency on their intermediaries and gives them better pricing, better margins, and also a better relationship or a stronger relationship with their retailers. Decision making becomes sharper once real time data is integrated with their daily operations. Well, forecasting improves this and also reduces their guesswork on their inventories or their stockage. Lastly, but the technology plays a quite a decisive role in in each company. Well, early investments create system that supports consistency and efficiently and scalability long before their competitors recognize their need. Next slide. Well, this slide focuses on leadership discipline, which is arguably the most underappreciated driver in the long term success. This organization prioritizes systems over individuals. Professional management ensures that continuity reduces dependency on their founders and improves their decision quality. Second, the disciplined capital allocation. Profits are reinvested back into the high return core businesses as they avoid any temptation or any urge in order to chase any trends. Thirdly, focus on the core strengths. They ignore unrelated opportunities. What they do exceptionally well in that particular sector or segment. And finally, long term thinking. These companies optimize for decades and not for some years or some quarters. Well, this is patience as a business strategy. Next slide. Yeah. So this slide ties everything together. This is the blueprint for enduring success. The book shows that small advantage compounds over time. Execution is always prioritized over product novelty. Early investments in technology and data enable scale, consistency, and control. The adopt for the professional management structures, moving away from founder centric control and ensure the continuity of the business. As the book clearly states that success is a marathon and not a sprint. Well, to conclude, the unusual billionaire teaches us that ordinary business becomes extraordinary when discipline, patience, and executions are applied relentlessly over time. Well, there are no shortcuts here, only system, focus, and long term thinking. Thank you.